One of the biggest mistakes you can make in life is assuming everyone around you means well, that a smiling face means friendship, that flattery means support, that the loudest voice belongs to the strongest person. The truth, very different. There are people who quietly poison your peace, like venom, and others who yell and intimidate just to make you shrink. But in both cases, it's about one thing: control. They want to weaken you, and if you don't recognize them in time, they'll slowly start shaping your thinking, draining your self-worth, and eventually changing who you are. Today, we'll break down 8 dangerous types of people, and more importantly, why they're dangerous, how they think, and what you must do to protect yourself. If you've ever trusted someone who later used the trust against you, write in the comments, "Never again," because betrayal hurts far more than hate. Type 1. The Screaming Aggressor, the loud destroyer who tries to dominate every room with volume psycholo. Just know this type very well. They raise their voice to hide their own weakness. They attack to control the space, and they humiliate others so no one talks about their own fears. This isn't strength, it's chaos wearing a mask of power. Weak people shout, strong people stay silent. Napoleon Bonaparte, this quote cuts deep onto levels. Philosophically, loudness is the sound of insecurity begging for control. Psychologically, people who can't handle their own emotions often project them onto others. They scream to drown out the truth, not just your truth, but the one they're terrified to admit to themselves. And most people pull back, exactly what this person wants, because their power comes not from respect, but from fear. How to protect yourself? Don't buy into their reality. You don't need to fight. Just stand firm and refuse to give up your inner calm. Your silence can be a stronger weapon than their screaming, because a true leader doesn't yell. They lead by example. Type 2. The two-faced snake, the fake friend who smiles to your face and stabs you behind your back. This person doesn't yell. They whisper, they flatter, they lean in close, and that's exactly what makes them dangerous. Their greatest weapon isn't aggression, it's the trust they earn and then exploit. They play the long game, gaining access to your life, your confidence, your openness, only to use it against you later. Rumors. Stolen ideas. Behind the scenes sabotage that leaves you hurt, confused, and alone, while they stay clean. Lord, protect me from my friends. I can handle my enemies. Voltaire. This isn't just a warning, it's a painful truth. Philosophically, the worst damage comes from inside the circle of trust, where we expect safety. We're the most vulnerable. Psychologically, this is often a narcissistic type, high need for control, no remorse, and dangerously skilled in social manipulation. How to spot them? Listen to how they talk about others behind their backs. That's exactly how they'll talk about you. And remember, if someone brings you gossip, they'll carry gossip about you too. Betrayal hurts, but it teaches. Once you've seen the snake for what it is, you know, closeness without trust is just slow poison. And the best protection? Healthy boundaries. If you've ever been betrayed by someone who wore a friendly smile, write in the comments, "I see the mask." Because the most dangerous face is often the one pretending to care. Type 3. The Relentless Critic, the quiet destroyer of your confidence. At first, they sound helpful, like they just want to give you feedback. But over time, you notice the criticism never ends, and it's never truly constructive. These people are skilled at cutting you down with words that sound reasonable, but leave you second-guessing yourself. They belittle you under the mask of honesty. They pretend to help you grow, but their real goal is to keep you small. People only throw stones at trees that bear fruit. Confucius. This quote is your armor. Philosophically, it reveals that success attracts attention, and the weak try to destroy what they envy. Psychologically, these critics usually struggle with deep insecurity. Their inner voice tells them, "You're not good enough," so they point out your flaws to feel better about their own. But remember, that's not your fault. Criticism that doesn't build is meant to break. And constant feedback from someone who never celebrates your wins, that's not mentoring. That's emotional sabotage. How to protect yourself? Separate facts from feelings. Ask, Is this helpful or just harmful? Healthy criticism helps you grow. Toxic criticism keeps you doubting. And one of the most powerful decisions you'll ever make is to stop living by the opinions of people who don't deserve your respect. Type 4. The ego is the silent gatekeeper who never shares. This person doesn't yell, doesn't argue, doesn't attack, but they're dangerous in a more subtle way. They hold knowledge, power, and resources and refuse to share them. They appear professional, polished, but behind the scenes, they're obsessed with control, not because they don't trust you, but because they don't want you to grow. The more power you have, the less you should need to show it. Seneca philosophically, real strength is quiet. It doesn't need to flex. Psychologically, egoists build their identity on feeling superior. And when someone more capable enters the picture, they feel threatened. So instead of collaborating, they isolate. Instead of sharing, they withhold. Why? Because in their mind, if you rise, I fall. But that's a lie. True strength lifts others. Only the weak need to keep others down to feel important. How to protect yourself. Don't wait for their approval. Learn from other sources. Grow independently. And most importantly, don't let their silence define your value. Their rejection might just be the push you need to become unstoppable. Type 5. The attention addict, the emotionally unstable manipulator who flips when you ignore them. At first, they seem sweet, friendly, helpful. They go out of their way to support you. But eventually, you realize it wasn't kindness. It was currency. Their help wasn't a gift. It was an investment. And when they stop getting the attention they crave, they change fast. The person who once praised you suddenly becomes your critic, your saboteur. Sometimes, even your enemy. Those who crave to be the center of attention lose sight of what truly matters. Carl Gustav Jung. Philosophically, Jung reminds us of ego's deep conflict. The more we need validation from outside, the more disconnected we become from our true self. Psychologically, this is often a histrionic or narcissistic personality. People who live for attention, praise, and applause. For them, the worst punishment isn't criticism, it's indifference. This type is dangerous in group settings. When they're no longer admired, they start stirring drama, pitting people against each other, creating chaos, just to be seen again. How to protect yourself. Keep your distance. Don't take responsibility for their emotions. And remember this, your attention is energy. Don't give it to those who feed off it. My peace is not for sale. Because real connection doesn't come with a price tag. Type 6. The incompetent climber, the passive predator who waits for you to slip. This person isn't loud. They don't lead, but they're dangerous in silence. They hide behind politeness, stay quiet in meetings, but behind the scenes, they're watching, waiting for you to stumble so they can point it out. Only those who fail themselves are hurt by the success of others. Friedrich Nietzsche. Philosophically, Nietzsche calls out envy for what it is, a quiet weapon of the weak. Psychologically, these people can't handle your talent, but instead of growing, they focus on slowing you down. They don't want to shine. They just want no one else to. So they wait for a mistake, a slip-up, anything they can use to make themselves look better. This type thrives in workplace environments. You won't see them helping, but the moment you struggle, they're the first to highlight it. How to protect yourself. Don't seek validation from them. Don't waste time explaining yourself. Just keep going. And above all, never explain yourself to people who are only waiting to judge you. Your results will speak. Let the climbers watch while you rise. The arrogant know-it-all who refuses to admit mistakes. This person looks confident, experienced. They command attention, speak with conviction, quote facts, dominate rooms. But there's a major flaw. They never doubt themselves. They dismiss other views. They don't ask questions. They never even consider the possibility they might be wrong. And if something goes wrong, it's never their fault. To err is human, but to persist in error is foolish. Marcus Tullius Cicero. Philosophically, this quote reminds us that making mistakes is human, but refusing to learn from them is arrogance. Psychologically, this person suffers from cognitive rigidity, an inability to adapt or question their own thinking. They see themselves as above others. Rules don't apply to them, and their uniqueness becomes an excuse for manipulation, dominance, and entitlement. They're dangerous because others believe them, and the more you trust their certainty, the more you lose your own critical thinking. How to protect yourself. Have the courage to question, even the experts. And remember, true mastery doesn't say, "Only I know." It says, "I'm always learning." The charming destroyer who uses and discards people with a smile. Maybe he impressed you. He was smart, charismatic, convincing. He motivated you, made you laugh, seemed like a leader. But it was all a tactic. These people are master manipulators. They feel no empathy, no guilt. They see people not as humans, but as tools. The greatest evil often hides behind the sweetest smile. Sigmund Freud. Philosophically, Freud warns us, appearances deceive. The most dangerous intentions often come with the most attractive packaging. Psychologically, this is antisocial personality disorder, cold logic, emotional detachment, and calculated charm. They lie, use people, get what they want, and move on. Often, they're successful because they say the right thing, wear the right mask, and make others do the dirty work for them. Their loyalty is fate. Their friendships are transactions. And if you stand in their way, they'll cut you out without blinking. How to protect yourself. Don't fall for words. Watch actions. Don't trust charm. Look for consistency, empathy, and integrity. And if someone makes you doubt your worth, walk away. Some people enter your life as a blessing, others as a lesson. And then there are those who are a real threat to your peace, your self-worth, and your direction. Walking away from toxic people isn't weakness. It's a sign of strength, of dignity, of protecting what matters most, your soul. And always remember, it's not your job to fix toxic people. It's your job to make sure they don't destroy you.